Blue Reef, and we've come inland again, 600 k's into the central Pilbara. Western Australia is famous for its wildflowers this time of year. And as you just take these roads through these mining towns like Paraburdoo and Tom Price, it is just incredible what you see just driving along the side of the road. G'day folks, we're at Tom Price, Western Australia's highest town, the centre of iron ore. You saw at Port Sampson where it goes on a ship off to China, it gets dug out here. And Tom Price, named after an American geologist who said that the iron ore deposits here were amazing. As you can see, there is that big yellow truck behind me, and then there's that mining thing as well. Welcome to Karijini National Park, the best place you have never heard of. And behind me, Fortescue Falls. Fortescue Falls comes from the spring-fed water of Fern Pool. Travels about 300 metres, tumbles down here in this staircase, and then goes down Dale's Gorge. It's not too bad for temperature, 21, 22, pretty good. Linda and I are heading down Dale's Gorge, which downstream from Fortescue Falls. It's much more lush, more trees, more greenery, and much wider than the gorges of the western part of Karijini. This is Dale's Gorge from an elevated lookout position. This is Fern Pool. It's spring fed, so that comes out at about 25 degrees there, and it runs down this little creekway and it ends up at Fortescue Falls. Incredible spot here at Karijini.
Thing we've swum in so far other than
Folks, Fern Pool, close up. It's actually a warm spring fed because its temperature's pretty good, I gotta say. She's not complaining too much, notice. Having fun there? So, temperature?
It's warm coming off the waterfall, but it's a little fresh in the pool. Oh. No.
Back to the album.
So Linda and I are heading off. Weano get Gorge first, and then we'll get to the lookout and have a look around here, Karijini National Park. Linda and I were here in 2005, we remarked how the topography was just like rolling hills, and it was like a cowboy riding across the open plain, and then all of a sudden his horse stopping and staring down a 100-metre chasm. Well, that's what it's a bit like here in this intersection here of Weano and Hancock. Gorges, rolling hills, and then just drop-offs into a blue. Now it's time to head down into Hancock Gorge, to Kermit's Pool, and the famous spider. Hancock Gorge requires a ladder. Narrow section of Hancock Gorge, two different techniques. Me, straight through the water. Linda, taking the edge. Let's see what happens. How's the dry technique going, darling?
Awesome.
Oh. Bit of underwater work. Oh, oh yeah. Pilbara desert cold. Actually, while I'm shivering my butt off here, Linda and I have some personal history. When we were here in 2005, our kids were 5, 7 and 9. And Taylor actually had a small fall off one of these ledges and only fell, thankfully, about 4 feet. Had she gone another level, she would have fallen a lot further. So Linda and I are back here full of strong memories about what could have been pretty horrible way back then. The sign actually says at the Hancock Gorge that most of the accidents that happen at Karijini happen here in Hancock Gorge. It's slippery, it's steep, there's a few little risks, but it's beautiful. Now it's time for the famous spider walk. Here she comes. She hasn't gone up to our neck like me, but she has removed the boots. Down the spider walk. Here I am, Kermit's Pool, at the end of the spider walk, at the end of this part, and there is the dry one. Dry and warm. I'm going to take you to the end here and show you what it's like. They don't let you go past here. But there it is, the end of Hancock Gorge. I'll take you back to the dry one.
How cold is it, Brandon?
Something to do with the brass monkey.
It's nice and warm and dry up here on my ledge. I'm just not quite sure how I'm going to get down off of it.
Joffre Falls and Gorge in the western part of Karijini National Park. Knox Gorge it is, just a few k's from Joffre. Here we go. Linda and I, we're going to go through a bit of a spin through Karijini National Park, have a look at some of the sites and topography. Linda and I are at the base of Mount Bruce, Western Australia's second highest mountain. It oversees the Karijini National Park. We're going to go for a wander up here and see what we can find. Linda and I are 2k up the 4.5 kilometre climb to Mount Bruce. But in the distance there, that's the Marandoo Rio Tinto mine site. One of the great mines in this Tom Price part of the world. If you squint, you can see one of those big mining trains taking that dirt off through the Pilbara to China. That peak behind me is called Chinaman's Hat, and a hiker just told me that we don't go around that, straight over the top, so we're really looking forward to this part of the walk.
Oh no, that's not a chain.
It's all right, darling. They say they've had fatalities climbing Mount Bruce.
I don't want to hear that.
I know why.
Oh my goodness.
It'll be fine, darling. If you're wondering, it was a little hairy. Very difficult hike, particularly psychologically. We are here at the top of Mount Bruce, looking across to Karijini National Park. Now we're looking towards the south, and there is the Marindoo Mine, then looking off to the west and Mount Tom Price and the mining town, and then back towards Karijini and Hammersley Gorge. We're on the descent, and we've got a few tricky bits on the way. So darling, how was our 10k 4-hour round trip up Western Australia's second highest mountain?
It was amazing with some really scary bits in it.
There you go. Linda and I have just driven to the far northwest corner of Karijini to Hammersley Gorge. As you can see at the bottom of Hammersley Gorge, it's a popular swimming spot. It's known as the Spa Pool. I think I'll go and take a dip. At Hammersley it narrows. I'll take a bit of a swim through it. Here it is, looking back the other way. It's very impressive. It's a great little waterway. Let me just do a spin for you. Brilliant. Cold, 20, 21 degrees. Lovely sunny day here though in Karijini. Found this rock in the middle of the creek where I can have a bit of a rest. And as you can see, the colours on the walls. And the best thing about this little spot, for the briefest of moments, no people, no people. Your beauty. Today we are in Kalamina Gorge. It's right in the centre of Karijini National Park. There's a fairly rough road to get to it. And this morning at 8:30, there is no one else here. It's just Linda and I, your beauty. halfway along Kalamina is a four-way junction. Where we've come from, where we're going, and then through this way, two more gorges. So folks, Karijini's over and it's time to head home. It'll just take us 7 days, 4,000 Ks, about 1,300 of dirt. So it's been great. We might do a little postscript of some of the things we might see. We're taking the Great Central Road across the desert of Western Australia through to Uluru. Day one we drove from Karijini to Leinster, 950 Ks, and we camped by the Leinster golf course. That's the first tee, looking at the first tee, and then over to the 18th hole. I'm here early morning, no golf was out yet. Day two of our journey, we headed east. We went from Leinster all the way through to here. Camp Paradise, a free camp on the side of the Great Central Road, which is the only other pathway you can take from west to east other than the Nullarbor and up through the Kimberley. It's 1,100 Ks of dirt. We're at this free camp called Camp Paradise, and we couldn't quite work out why it was paradise, and then we saw the facilities, a single bin. And we were the only people here last night. Anyway, this morning our bodies got working and we worked out why it was paradise. It was BYO your own toilet, and the vista was grand. The Gibson Desert to the north and the Great Central Victoria Desert to the south. Your beauty. On day three of our journey home, we travelled 500 Ks through the remote and well-known famous town of Warbuton, then through a place called Warbuton, which had the Giles Meteorological Weather Station. And here we are now, just 10 Ks into the Northern Territory at a campground at Docker River. We have seen wild camels that we had to drive through on the side of the road. We've seen the country change from the Gibson Desert to these mountains, and now it's time for us to have our pizza dinner over an open fire. This is Lassiter's Cave, from that iconic famous Lassiter's Reef story. Harold Lassiter sheltered in this cave in 1931, starving without water, and tried to get to the Olgas but died 3 days later. So here we are on day 4 of our journey home. Turned out the Great Central Road was a dirt highway. 80 Ks at the slowest, 100 on occasions, mostly 90. So here we are at Karijini, the Olgas, mid-morning. We're going to do the Valley of the Winds 7K walk. Who would have thought that we'd already be here?
Mamma, per favore quel telefono.
Esatto, il telefono che uno dopo lo ha in tasca.
Jack, this one's for you, the top of the Olgas.
Day 5 of our trip home. As mentioned yesterday, we made such good time on the Great Central Road, we ended up creating a spare day and a half. Half a day yesterday at Karijini to the Olgas, and today a full day around Uluru. We're going to ride around Uluru a few times, and we're also going to hike around it. Amazing place. Enjoy the sun. See that pattern up there? Is that the inside of a human head? What's going on there? Clearly some people can't walk or ride. Dinner time here at Uluru, folks. Sunset. Chef, chairs, Uluru at sunset. Day 6 of our journey home. We've come from Uluru along the Lassiter Highway onto the Stewart Highway, and we've popped in here to the breakaways near Coober, Pedy. We didn't get stopped at the border this year like we did last year because of that COVID-19 outbreak at Katherine when we were 1200 k's a day after the one-person outbreak in the Katherine Woolies. But guess what? We know we're coming back to the south because there's a big change coming! Ah! Day 7 and the final day of our trip home. Coober, Pedy, home to Blair, back to Adelaide. Now last night we slept here in the underground cave here at Reba's Underground Camping, Coober, Pedy. Thanks for keeping an eye on us and enjoying this trip. We had a great time.